Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. But nobody can play every video game, right? Oh yes. Yes we can, just watch me. Welcome ladies and gentlemen to 1981. This is November and our last game was Crush Roller. A very charming game for the arcade, and let's press forward playing our next game. We're now playing on the TRS-80 Coco, and this is Polaris. Polaris? Let's see what Polaris is all about. Taking a look at the box first. And right off the bat, it is taking the same design we saw for every other cartridge game on the TRS-80 color computer. Let's see if the back of the box is anything exciting. And no, it does not. Radio Shack just has liability, responsibility. It's pretty much looks like a contract on every Coco box. TRS-80 Coco box. All right, so for the manual, let's see what Polaris is. What is Polaris? As usual, they talk about application software. Protect your islands by destroying as many enemy missiles as possible. Score points for every enemy missile you destroy, every island you save, and every missile you have left. An exciting 1- or 2-player game for the whole family. How to load it, introduction, getting the object of Polaris to get the highest score possible. I think they said that several times. That's the point of every game from the 80s for the most part. Using the joystick, the crosshair moves it. Oh, so it's maybe like missile command? That sounds awesome. All right, how to start the game, got it. And how to play the game, choose 1 or 2 players. For game operation, the enemy missiles begin to appear mercilessly dropping in a constant barrage upon your 6 islands. Some are multiple warhead missiles breaking apart at lower levels, and different levels of the screen will change colors to make the enemy more difficult to see. Luckily, you have 3 strategically located submarines, each containing 9 missiles for a total of 27. You choose which sub to fire by pressing Z, X, or C on the keyboard, or comma period or backslash. Players find it easier to fire missiles. Forward slash. So it's Z, X, or C to fire the missiles, and oh yes, it's missile command. Polaris is missile command for the TRS-80 color computer. Here it shows the scoring and diagrams for everything, and if we look down, oh, this is very nice. It's showing us the controls for all the different missile bases and what everything is on the screen. 10 different parts. They broke everything down. There's the subs. There's the multiple warheads. There's your score at the top. That's your multiplier. Very nice. Love it when they break down the screenshot of everything. And then to determine score by all these factors here, after you've gone down a total defeat or surrendered by pressing R. Okay, if you want to reset, I think that's what R is. Play again, pushing 1 or 2 players. The enemy will regroup and the battle will begin again. Good luck, you'll need it. And here we go for advanced players like us on Chronologically Gaming. Very advanced levels, enemy missiles fall at a high rate of speed in ever-increasing numbers. If you explode a missile near the edge of the screen, the explosion will wrap around and part of the explosion will appear on the other side of the screen. Oh, that's a cool tip. Fancy tricks and tips. First time we've seen that one for a manual on the TRS-80 Coco. All right, here we go. It is November 1981, and this is Polaris for the TRS-80 color computer. All right, so right off the bat, let's choose 1 or 2 players. I'm here solo this evening, so we're doing 1 player. And, oh, that's so cool. So this is, I'm putting my fingers on the Z, X, and C on the keyboard, and Z is the left sub. Yep. It's just like we're playing Missile Command, and keep in mind, when we played this on the Atari 2600 and the Atari home computer, there was only 1 base in the center, and you didn't have the choice of having 3 different places to shoot. And now we got it. Plus, we have the analog controls of the TRS-80 Coco. So, control-wise, this is the best home port of Missile Command that I've played so far. Graphically, and because they don't have as many game modes as Atari, that would fall short, but the fact that you can play it like the arcade, 3 different places to shoot, and you have this. Look at this. This control is way smoother than the joystick for the Atari 2600. They don't, oh, they did the wraparound again like it told us in the tips and tricks. Yeah, this is pretty cool controls for the time. Super smooth. Yeah, the option of switching, just it's like I'm playing more of the arcade version. So this is the cartridge version for your TRS-80 Coco, and we play both disc and cartridge. It also had cassette tapes, but we're trying to avoid those. We bought the high-end model or we bought the disc drive for it. Okay, so we're going to next level. Multipliers increased. Yeah, if you were a fan of Missile Command, this is the one to get. I can't say that it's really doing the best graphically, and sound effects aren't as cool as the Atari, but the control is the best control. Having 3 different places to shoot from, and that analog control is so smooth. They did? I am a lefty, but pretty soon all lefties had to conform and just do everything the righties were doing. Especially when it comes to the user interface with a mouse. Where's my lefties at? You know you used your right hand. Everybody did. Very cool. Yeah, so sound really isn't there with the fidelity of all the explosions of the Atari, but that's a small nod. If this would be the must-have action game. Polaris is like one of the best action games you could play on the Coco. Gets right in the action, and especially with Missile Command. And a kind of a cool idea making it submarines with the warheads rather than cities that are holding all your missiles. That's true. Just go ambidextrous. I don't know anybody that actually kept with the left-handed mouse, though. Oh, man, that one came in fast. We got one city down already. So you can hear the sound effects. It's the same volume we've had for every other game on the channel, but the sound really doesn't pop like Atari's does. No, it's the one that goes around the explosions. He got me. Oh, there we go. We got enough points for a bonus island, though. Sweet. And moving on to a new level, new background. Oh, yeah, now we're getting crazy oh, yeah, not even prepared for it. I should have read the advanced instructions more carefully. Had no idea this one existed. Polaris is fantastic. As I get most of my cities blown up, still, it's that analog control. With the 3 different places to shoot missiles, it's more like the arcades. Here you go, 5 times multiplier. Go, go, go. Think ahead. Lead the targets. Lead the targets. Or don't aim at the targets. Oh, yeah, that's... Oh, gosh. Is that a sub down? Yeah, that's a sub down. Wow, yeah, they're coming in really fast. Yeah, I'm all out. They're going to wipe me out. All right, so when we played Missile Command for the Atari 2600, I gave that one a 5-star because it was one of the best games you could play in a home console. This one, the music isn't there as Atari and doesn't have as many game modes as Atari, but the way that it plays is amazing. This is way up there, and I'm debating if I want to do the same with this one because it's way up above average, way above 4. I could even go 5 stars. I'll ask, reaching out to the chat, if anyone, it's difficult to describe because you have to play it yourself, but for the time, this one is the best way you could play at home Missile Command rather than going in the arcades. So I could go 5. Anybody got any stars they want to throw out there as what they would give Polaris for 1981? Oh, Chiptune goes 5. So there's 1 5. Bubsy's saying 4. I might go 4.5. It is just, it plays like the arcade. It's the Atari's home computer and home console both didn't have 3 silos of missiles. So yeah, we'll go. Yeah, 4.75. We'll go 4.5 then for Polaris. It's way up there. Excellent game for the TRS-80 Coco. All right, so after that, let's see what our next one is. It's the latest release of Softline, the computer for the Apple II. Let's take a look at Softline. What's going on in November? So this is their 2nd issue. There you go, right on the cover is Bill Budge. Look at that programmer. He's a vigorous young go-getter. It's the game gramming East-West compare notes. That's what the front of the front of the magazine is. And then moving down, we have an advertisement for Crossfire. This magazine was one of the editors was Ken Williams of Online Systems, and so there's a lot of ads for Online Systems. Here's one. This is for Crossfire, which we haven't seen yet, but we'll get to this one for sure. All right, we'll breeze by the table of contents because we want to get to, we're going to go through everything in this magazine for a little bit. First one I wanted to bring up when they talk about editor's notes, look above my head, this person says, I have a suggestion for your Softline salute section. I think Muse Software ought to be saluted for coming out with Castle Wolfenstein. This is the most fantastic and interesting game ever published. Michael J. Pencil. And I agree with you, Michael. It is. So as we go through, it breaks down on the far side over here on the left, all the different advertisers and companies that will be in here. Online Systems has a lot. And then we have Datamose, CalSoft, Bez, Penguin Software. So they're giving them ad space. So we'll see a few ads for them. But over here on the left side, business, Apple spends half its time playing. They're talking about how the Apple computers are everywhere in businesses now, but most people are using them for games. They want to see game reviews because that's what Softline is. This was that Apple II games magazine. And this person's trying to figure out the scoring algorithm used in the program ABM, which it's all about the score in 1981, right? All right, so as we scroll down, this one's a preview for the arcade machine. I believe this comes out in 1982, and this is Broderbund's game to make your own arcade games. It's like a build your own arcade game program. So we'll be seeing that one in 1982, and this is a preview for it. As we scroll down, we got next an ad for Snack Attack. Bet you can't play just one game. This one is by Datamose, and we haven't seen that one yet, but again, these are some of those titles that we can't pin down exactly when they were released, so we're going to see it very soon. So keep your eye on, we'll keep your eye on GPI, and also we'll take a look at Snack Attack at some point. So as you scroll down to the next part, this section is The Origins of the Adventure by Ken Rose, and this article is just about, since the adventure genre for people of the home computer space, that was the big game genre for everyone. And so he's going to break down in this article of where the adventure genre came from, starting all the way back from, he goes all the way back to the Greeks and Romans for the origins of the adventure video game genre, and then goes into Fibonacci numbers for some reason. And then he also has different riddles and clues like you'd see in an adventure game in this article. Like a pair of rabbits in a place that's surrounded on all sides by a wall. How many pair of rabbits can be produced from that pair in a year? If it's supposed to be every month, each pair begets a new pair, which becomes productive from each month on. So he puts in riddles or clues that you'd have in adventure games in this article. And then goes on to, let's move past all the Greek and Roman origins of the adventure, and then he goes into from Edgar Allan Poe to the Parker Brothers and the adventure genre with Robert E. Howard Conan stories, and then goes into finally computers in the beginning with the mid-70s with Will Crowther and Don Woods making a game called Adventure. I want to see where it talks about Colossal Cave, because that one should be in this if it's an article about the origin of adventure games. And yes, Tolkien. Yes, that's true. The original adventure was played on text, and then they have early examples that we played, Beneath Apple Manor and Temple of Apshai, and then Dungeons and Dragons is another one they're bringing up from the beginning. And then on our far left side is just a bunch of software and the prices for them. But the article ends with how the adventure genre is going to just explode and get bigger and bigger, because at this point we've got graphic adventure games, and the last one we played had small animation to it, just very small in the high-res graphics, and they're just saying this is going to take place for the future. So he says the crystal ball for the near future reveals adventure games combining animated graphics of the sort rudimentary available in like Creature Venture and full-color pictures like in Wizard and the Princess. Later on, we'll see interactive adventures, which multiple people can affect each other's success in playing the game. And so he just ends with, it's like a 1981 view of the future of adventure games, and then in the upside down part right here is just the answers to all that, all those riddles that he gave in his article. Then we move on to a next. This article is by Ken Williams, Roberta Williams' husband. He's going again about Apple II graphics, and he did this in the other issue of Softline. This one's about how to map memory on the Apple II, and has a lot of good information for all the developers out there for the Apple II. Maps all the memory, and then at the same time we also get more ads and prices of video games, check a look at the prices over here. They have not just the video games, but software too. Visitron, VisiPilot, $215 for that software. And keep in mind, it's software for businesses, and this hasn't totally caught on as a mainstream thing. There's still typewriters out there in businesses, and they're still filing everything in paper files. So put everything on the computer is just it's not mainstream yet. All right, so we also have the complete graphics system ad. We're going to breeze by that one. And same thing here. He's going into how they did the high-res graphics for their games on the high-res adventure series. All right, so after that article, we have an ad for online systems. And this one is the games we've played. I'll start at the bottom here. High-res Adventure 1 was actually the first one. And then after that was High-res Adventure 2. And then the third was High-res Adventure 0, an easier version of that. And then after that, we played Cranston Manor, not to be confused with Crowley Manor. And then this is the one we haven't seen yet. High-res Adventure 4, Ulysses, and the Golden Fleece, I think it is, yes. So that one is coming up, or should be seen soon. Maybe it will be seen at the end of the year. All right, so the next article is one of the most amazing and bizarre articles I've ever seen. This is 1981. We're in November, and this blows me away that this is even a thing, and I'd like to confirm this. So this is the Game Maker Summit, and if you look here, this is Bill Budge with Minoru Nakazawa. And so in this article, he is talking to them, and it says in the top left corner that in Japan, nobody makes a living writing game programs. In fact, it would seem that in Japan, they consider the title professional game programmer a contradiction in terms. Writing software for business applications is thought fairly respectable, but game programming is held in much lower esteem. It has what Japanese describe as a negative aspect to it. The Japanese view game programming as trivial, kind of like a game itself, not professional, and perhaps not even quite honorable. Becoming a game programmer is not an appropriate goal for a serious-minded, creative young person in Japan. So that blows my mind. This is 1981, and they're saying that right now in Japan, game programmers are not looked high enough esteem. So right now, are you telling me that Shigeru Miyamoto, who just did Donkey Kong as the creative director for Donkey Kong, you mean he's not looked at as an esteemed person in the industry? It's crazy. So anyway, this article is about Bill Budge talking to a few other Japanese programmers and getting the culture in Japan. And they're saying right now in Japan that it's not looked hardly upon, but Minoru Nakazawa is hoping that it changes. And oh yes, it does. One of the big things that pushes that is going to be the Atari shock, is how they refer to it in Japan. After Atari it implodes the market over in North America, it ends up changing the attitude of what Japan's market is. So very amazing article. Bizarre to think of right now in 1981 that Japanese game programmers aren't looked at very highly. All right, so as we scroll down past that article, it's talking about, it does talk about the computers in Japan as well. Right now we have a few different companies that have already started making computers themselves. They did exactly what Europe did, where there's kits that you could build yourself, and then after the kits started to get popular enough, then companies would take over, and then they would you could buy computers over in Japan. Yeah, I thought Space Invaders was a huge hit in Japan. So if you knew who the programmer of it was from Taito, wouldn't you think that person was an amazing businessman or an esteemed person? So yeah, I'd like to confirm, but that's what the article's saying. It's just crazy. All right, so we'll scroll through an ad by CalSoft, and then here is an article about software to learn from and to choose. So it's just basically more programming tips. And then we have an ad by, over here above my head is an ad for Bezman. Bez. I wonder who Bez is. But it looks like it's a Pac-Man clone when they say they work your way through the maze and eat up dots, which we might see Bezman in the future. Who knows, on Chronologically Gaming. And then we have some new players in the software world here. They're featuring Piccadilly Software. And then there you go, Bez. John F. Besnard is Bez. So some new developers that are coming on the scene. And then here we got an ad for Thief. There was a game called Thief in 1981. How about that? Not as popular as the ones we think about nowadays, but another game to look forward to in 1981 that we'll see maybe sometime soon or possibly when we close out the end of the year. Oh, okay, possibly a Zork clone. And this one's an interview with Mark Turmel. We just played Sneakers, and that's him. There he is, Mark Turmel, the developer of Sneakers. So this is about a new developer, what it's like to start off in the beginning in 1981 and how to be, what the experience is like as a new programmer. So Sneakers was really cool. That was the one that had really good color, really large sprites and characters on the screen, really nice. All right, so we'll scroll through this one, and then they have an ad for Laser Microsystems. And then here you go, game review. So this is a game review for Bezman. I guess we'll have to check that one out. Looks like he's saying that the pace speeds up. It's a persistent game. Yeah, it looks like it's a Pac-Man maze game. We also have a game called Game Show, which you get to play a game show. Probably the first ones we've ever heard of as a video game as a game show. And then Bug Attack, which is another one to look forward to for the Apple II. We'll see that one soon. Then Crossword Magic, Colorblind, and Scram. And just keep in mind that back then, these magazines for video games, when they're doing reviews, there's no star rating, there's no... they're not really giving a rating. It's just a review, and you read what it is. I love this. We just played Scram the other time with Casey Club Kirby, and this is a review for Scram, an educational game where it's a nuclear submarine simulator. And they're saying that the Scram instruction manual is needlessly wordy and confusing. The author has an annoying habit of using too many abbreviations in too short a time, because Scram, it's a nuclear submarine simulator. It's pretty complicated. And then this article is about, the microcomputer versus the arcades. Like, in other words, we already know when we played Gobbler, we're playing a Pac-Man clone on the computer. So this article is about, who's ripping off who of taking property that was done first in the arcades and then sending it home. Really interesting about how they view it then, because it's going through the legal and ethical ramifications of those games. It's because you play something on the computer like, oh, I'm playing Berserk, but they call it something else. All right, so then we have a cool section called High Scores. They actually posted high scores for the Apple II here on Softline. And we got different games that people have played, and we've played too. Let's see, Autobahn we played, Asteroids in Space. We haven't played Apple Panic yet. That one should be coming up. And then, where's Beer Run? Did anyone get a high score for Beer Run? I don't see that one. I do see Gobbler, though, and Super Invaders, and Snoggle. There we go. Snoggle was another Pac-Man clone, one of the first Pac-Man clones you could play. So if you have a high score, put it into Softline. And then finally, we end with an advertisement for Threshold. This one is another game we have not played yet, but it should be coming soon on the channel. And ends with another ad for Huntington Software. I didn't see if it was on there. All right, so after the November issue of Softline, let's move on to our next game. All right, it's time. This one's special. It's the release of Super Breakout. And for all the fans of the ad on TV, if you tuned in, here it is.
Did you try Breakout with a moving wall? Did you try Breakout with an extra ball? It's what fun's all about. It's Super Breakout. It's a brand new game from Atari.
Yeah, hand it to Mom. She really wants to play Super Breakout.
If you liked Breakout, you'll love Super Breakout. It's got more color, more sound, and more action. And naturally, it's from Atari.
That's how you do it. That's how you market for Super Breakout. Way to go, Atari. All right, so let's take a look at the box for Super Breakout. And this is following the same formula we've seen before. 9 games inside. We got the double cavity, all right, progressive, 1 or 2 players. And then back of the box tells us we're playing with, oh yes, the Atari paddles. So lots of different game modes. Yeah, 2 different kinds of Breakout, double cavity, progressive. And then the children's versions. Yes, you can see the sticker in the top right of the box. Nice. And let's take a look at the rest of the artwork. We got also the advertisement flyer. Knockout, sock out, shoot out, shake out, look out, fake out, super breakout. Have you played Atari today? Yes, we have. All right, so after that, I got one more that I wanted to show everyone because it is the more hilarious one.
Did you try Breakout? Did you try Breakout?
There it is. Here you go. Oh, where is it? It keeps switching it off, switching it up for me. There it is. Oh, man. Oh, I don't think it'll play full screen. No. Oh, I guess it won't. For all the dads out there, this Atari ad is trying to tell you that mom really wanted to buy Atari for her husband because she wants to bring out the kid in him or something. I don't know what that one's going for. Man, Atari didn't know what to do with all that money for advertising. That's what's going on. All right, so our other versions, we have the European and North American version. We're going to check out the North American version for Super Breakout. Here we go. All right, so it's November 1981, and this is the release of Super Breakout. And right off the bat, we're going to start off with just the normal game mode. The Atari paddle controls is one of the biggest draws and how well this game plays. It's essentially the same game we saw in the 70s. The same Breakout formula, but they're changing things like the sound effects, how it plays. Now after seeing that commercial, I want to be like the dad. Oh, wow. It's bringing out the kid in me to break these blocks. Incredible. Oh. But if anyone's played with the paddle controls, you know how good this is. It feels excellent. As good as the arcade. The original Super Breakout was 1978, so we've already seen Breakout for a very long time. In 77 or 78 is when just Breakout came out for Atari. And here we go. This is Super Breakout. This formula is pretty similar to what we've seen before. I'm going to plug two controllers in. And then see what the different game modes. So let's go from there to the manual. And here we go, the Super Breakout manual. And this one, what are they doing with the artwork here? Because it's the Super Breakout was meant to be like someone's in prison and you're going to break yourself out of prison. But this looks like we have astronauts in space that are using the barriers, I guess, to go past another place. I have no idea. All right, let's scroll through the table of contents. Introduction. Here we go. They're going to tell us. Imagine you're a one-man space shuttle traveling through the heavens at the speed of light. You and your tiny ship are totally engulfed in darkness, except for the luminance of an occasional passing star. Suddenly, without warning, there's a brilliant flash straight ahead. You check the radar screen. Nothing. Pretty soon, there's another flash and another. Next thing you know, the flashes have turned into a gigantic force field of some kind, and it's dead ahead. You check the radar screen again, still nothing. The colors of this mysterious force field are so bright, they're almost blinding, and seem to be in layers. But the strangest thing is that nothing shows up on the radar screen. What could it mean? I want to stop there. They're just really stretching for the biggest story because it's Super Breakout. I mean, we had a cool story for a haunted house. It makes sense, but Super Breakout really doesn't need a story. Here we go. Game objective. You'll want to break out. Each game of variations played by one or two players with the exception of progressive, which is for one player only, the one that continues to move down the screen. Objective is to break all the bricks, and you get points for scoring bricks. In double and cavity, your score is double or triple the number of points when 2 or 3 balls are in play at the same time. Players have 5 serves or turns in all games. The numbers of turns you have taken is displayed in the left player number shown by figure 1. Yes. There we go, using the controllers, the paddle controls. And it's showing, oh, there you go, a diagram giving you where the ball's going to bounce for all those technical Atari players out there. Yeah, that's how you sell a game. You give it a story, It's 1981. I'm amazed that they go this far making the story for it. It's just getting more and more impressive. The home computer world was when we got these lore and story, and now we got our home consoles with Super Breakout giving us stories. Incredible. All right, so console controls. It's showing us what we do with the switches on the console. Difficulty switches looks like, you get bigger and smaller size paddles with the difficulty switches you can flip. And then for TV type, they don't do anything with the black and white and color switches yet. We're going to see some games with that. For game variations, games 1 and 2 is 1 and 2 player games. Doubles is games 3 and 4. And then 5 and 6 is Cavity. And after Cavity, we got Progressive as game 7. And then there we go, games 8 and 9 are the children's games. What's the difference though? 8 and 9 is, I guess size of the ball or paddle. Anyway, we'll see those. And then we also have hints to be a really good Atari player. Now notice Activision's here live on the scene too, but this game doesn't have anything like Activision does. Scoring contests, we're now at the end of the manual and there's nothing else where you'll get a patch or a reward for your scores in Super Breakout. All right, so going back in, let's go to game. This is for 2 players, which I think it's alternating controls. So I got two paddles plugged in right now. I'll play as first player, pretend I make a mistake, and I think the second player takes over. No, still the first player. Oh, I don't have the. Oh, wait, that's right. You got to daisy chain the controls. So the second player doesn't work unless I plug into the other paddle. So that wouldn't work correctly. But game mode 3 is the doubles, double paddle. So you can see 2 balls, 2 paddles, and twice the fun. That's what makes it Super Breakout. They also switched up the sound effects, giving a little flair. But man, for 1981, this, while it's a simple idea, this is like one of the quintessential games and one of the big sells of the Atari 2600. This is so great because it's right there before we get all the shovelware that shows up and all the extra games. 82 is gonna, I'm guessing when we see that, because everything we've seen so far on Atari is top tier. It's really good. Oh, there we go. Second paddle got in for us. Yeah, this is still a blast for all those that want to just hang around and break blocks or bring out the kid in you. All right, so game 4 is the same but 2 players, and then 5. Here we go. This is the Cavity. So they're inside, and when we decide to go, we're gonna break out the other ones inside. Tear up the Cavity in Cavity mode of Super Breakout. At first, I was worried the second controller wasn't plugged in, but I forgot you have to daisy chain the paddles. It's not the same as the Atari joysticks. Yes, who wants to chase the chuck wagon? The game we all were asking for in 1981. Or the Kool-Aid Man game, I'm excited for that one. Oh yeah. We'll get there eventually. I bring up these games to my wife, and my wife's like, that's not a game. You're just kidding. No, I'm not, and you'll see it. It'll be here on Chronologically Gaming, eventually. Right now, we're at the highest point of Atari. It's a multi-billion-dollar company. Ray Kassar's in charge. Nothing can go wrong. I would like to know what would have happened if Nolan Bushnell stayed in charge of Atari. If we would have had the same people leave and start Activision. So many what-ifs that could have happened. All right, so let's move on to, there's 7. Yeah, so this is the progressive mode. This is like a one-player, it's constant Breakout. If you just want to keep playing Breakout, it's going to continue to move the screen down lower and lower. And you just rack up the points on this one. We don't see it yet, but it's going to eventually start moving itself down and adding more and more lines. All right, so let's go to game mode 8. This is supposed to be the kids mode, or one of the kids modes. Still moving fast, though. I can't tell the difference. It looks pretty much just like the same Breakout. Maybe the ball's moving a little slower, or it doesn't go faster. How about 9? No, 9 still looks like it's... They changed the colors up to sound more like Fisher-Price, I guess. But as far as play mode, oh, that's the 2-player, I guess. Yeah, so there we go. That is Super Breakout. Lots of different game modes, lots of ways to play. So cool.
An Atari game and he'll turn into a little boy. But don't worry, he'll be grown up enough to share it.
Have you played Atari today?
Yes, we have. All right, so for this one, we're gonna go really high because it's just a very well-made game. I know it's using a formula we've seen before, but it's the most polished way you could play Breakout, basically.
Have you played Atari today?
Give a man an Atari game and he'll
There you go. I'm gonna switch that out so we're not like bombarded by "Have you played Atari today?" All right, so for Super Breakout, we're gonna go with. I could even go as high as 5 because of how like classic it is, but it's not something original. We've seen this before since the 70s. So again, I'll refer to the chat. If anyone wants to throw out some stars of what you would give Super Breakout for 1981, I could go. I'm thinking maybe 4, but we could push it higher because it is multiple people that can play. Yeah, I see 4 because. Video Olympics has already come out in the 70s, 77. And so that one was a lot of collections of Pong that you could play that were really, really well done. Yeah. When Arkanoid comes out, that's going to be a big one. If Arkanoid came out right now, it'd be 5 stars, big time. But it's released, I think, first in home computers. Atari ST, maybe? All right, so after Super Breakout, let's see what our next game is. We're going back to the Apple II, and this is Threshold. There it is. We just saw the ad for it in Softline. Now we get to check it out. What is Threshold like? So taking a look at the box first, this is by... Oh, okay, this box is a newer box. It doesn't look like it's the release for 81 because Sierra Vision, I don't think they have that yet. They're still only online systems. So looking at the back here, Threshold is a dark age for the Earth Federation. Our home planet's under attack and our colonies are raided unmercilessly. Space travel has become a death wish as more and more enemy ships find their way past the outer defenses and into the paths of friendly trade. Threshold is your mission to clear the tradeways of the pirating fleet so the supplies may get to the defense bases that protect our world and its colonies from the lawless invaders that roam the galaxy. I'm guessing space invaders then. Or Galaxian. Something to that nature. All right, let's see what else we got as far as discs. There we go. There's our 5 1/4 floppy disk. Threshold. Yep. Yes, the Sierra name, this has got to be a newer sleeve because they're only going by online systems right now, to my knowledge. All right, so other versions, we got one that's a bad version, maybe. All right, it is November 1981, and this is Threshold for the Apple II. Really excited for this one. We saw it in Softline. We bought it at our local, what was the name of that store in the magazine? I can't remember what it was. Am I going to have to speed this one up too? Let's load Apple II. Like it's 1981. There we go. Threshold by Warren Schneider. Way to go, Warren. Oh, and Ken Williams did this one too. Nice. So when he's not doing adventure games, he's still kicking out some really good arcade games. All right, so hitting enter, and then it's asking us, do we want to do paddle or keys? We'll check out the paddle control and see what it's like. We did not have a manual for Threshold. Is that right? No. All right, so no manual, but here we go. I have a fuel gauge, and so right here, it looks like I'm able to, yeah, move left and, oh, wow, I'm not trying to dodge the bullets, but... Yeah, it's a fixed shooter game. I just have left and right for controls. Come on. And it looks like they're wrapping through the other side of the screen. Nice scrolling effect with the stars. Not necessarily exactly vertical scrolling, but has a cool effect to it. Nice, we got different enemy variations. Oh wow, did I miss a shot? I didn't see anybody shoot. It's really hard to tell. The shots are like a single green pixel moving across the screen. We have to destroy them. They're attacking our fuel supply. Now, as I fire, I have a meter going over on the side, like it's heating up the coils on my firing mechanism. So I'll let it cool down. I do have fuel though, like a timeline. So that's an interesting effect that we can't just continue to shoot super fast. We have to aim our shots. Wow, yeah, the bullets coming down are hard and fast, and this is a game that is trying to be really challenging for an arcade game for the Apple II. Ambitious, yeah, and fast. Yeah, they're raining down bullets on me. And I'm trying to be a little conservative with my shots since I can overheat my guns now. That's the first time. Hold on a second. Let me think about this, because on the channel we played lots of shooters. Oh gosh. Now I'm getting attacked by dust. We've had a lot of shooters, but I don't think we've had any shooter that has a overheat gauge. We've had fuel gauges that we had to fill up, like in Super Cobra, and we've had fuel used in timers, like in Rally X and things like that. But I think this is the first time on the channel we've seen a game where we're shooting, but we can overheat the gun. I think that's the first mechanic we've seen of a game trying to do that. Let me switch it over to this side so you can see a little bit more of the gauge. But let's go in again. How do I get this to... The Apple joystick isn't responding. Let's try keyboard and see what keyboard's like. What are the controls like for the keyboard? Did I just regret using the keyboard? Because the paddle was working pretty good. Yep, uh-oh. Wait. Oh, I think I messed something up. Something broke. Not a good sign. Should have kept with paddle instead of keyboard controls. I wanted to see what the difference was. All right, let's boot it up again, try it again. But really cool arcade game for the Apple II. Way to go, Ken Williams. And let's fast forward through the opening. There we go. Maybe I went too fast. There we go. You fast forward too much and the game does not like that. It wants to pretend it's still 1981. All right, here we go. Going another round again for Threshold. Oh, Astro Blaster. That's right. Okay, so Astro Blaster did. So this is the first time at home you could have played a game where the gun can overheat. That's a mechanic we've asked for. I just want to continue to fire as much as possible. How many people have played a shooter where you just want to just grab the gun and continue to fire and not have to worry about overheating your gun? Show of hands. Same thing when you hear about your weapons have a durability rating and they eventually run out. And you're like, what? No, I want my sword to last forever. How many people played Excite Bike and you didn't want the bike to overheat, so you put in your Game Genie code to just keep driving on B as long as you want? This one isn't as bad, though. It's not something that is stopping or halting the gameplay or the fun. It actually makes it more of a strategic... Oh, man, I can't believe I missed that. It makes it more strategic because you're trying to aim your shots before you just fire off at anything. And these guys are tricky. Oh, where'd you go? There we go. So now moving on to the next one, which the drippy dots with the rain of fire. Wow. Cool design. As usual, Apple II sound doesn't really like pop. The Atari home computer sound is pretty good, but 2600 would be the most classic, best way I would say to hear sound or music. Well, not necessarily music. They didn't have too much yet on the Atari 2600. No! Man, that flying dust is like bubbles or water drips in video games. It's crazy hard. All right, so after that was Threshold for the Apple II, and I gotta say, that's pretty good. For the time, that's definitely a 4-star game for an action arcade game you could play. For pushing boundaries or in the 5-star range, I wouldn't say so. I'd say solid 4. It's very excellent. Chiptune saying 3 in the chat, or 3.5, and I can see that too, because it is just a fixed shooter moving left and right. We'll go for 4 stars for Threshold, and with that, let's move on to our next game. After Threshold, hey, speaking of the Atari at home, well, the Atari computer, this is the Atari home computer, and this is Volleyball. Do we have anything for Volleyball? No, we just have some screenshot images of what it is. Must be a more rare or obscure game, or possibly a type-in one. All right, let's pop it in and play. It's November 1981, and this is the newest release for the Atari home computer. Volleyball. We played lots of different volleyballs. I'd say the best one still is the one we played in the arcade, which is very simple, pong, bouncing back and forth on either side. 4-player volleyball, okay. Atari translation by Bradley J. Bell. Way to go, Bradley. So this was on another system, and Bradley brought it here for the Atari computer. Use joystick 0 to 3 to move players. Wait, 0 to 3. What? Is someone on the keyboard then for the 4th player? The screen will show the serve flashing the word serve, and then you just press the fire button to serve, press left and right. Just in case, let me plug another controller into our computer and make sure we might need 2. So the left and right front men also have the option of jumping to spike the ball, and then to jump, hold the stick in the up position while depressing the fire button. All right, here we go. We're going to try out Volleyball by Jim. I missed the last name. Sorry, Jim. All right, here we go. So it's saying serve. I push the button. Oh my gosh, the frame rate is so slow. So again, we're serving. I'm moving. Wait a second. I'm a little confused. So I got 2 controllers plugged in. Let's try this again. I'm going to move the second. What in the world? Okay, so I move one controller, and I'm moving one person on one side of the net, and my guy on. I'm controlling 2 different teams with one controller, and if I use the other controller, what in the world? Hold on a sec. What's going on? That's very strange that it has. Am I supposed to for a 4? No, we have for controls for. Yeah, we have the Atari joystick in. That's strange. Was the game really programmed to play? No, there's no way you would program this to play on both teams. I'm moving the green team and the red team, like one character from each on each side. And then the same for the other. I'm moving one green guy and one red guy on the other team. That is so strange. Yeah, that's crazy weird. But as far as the way it's playing, at least I got them to jump up and down. This is very choppy, very slow, considering the other games we've played so far. And the controls, I don't get that. Why would you program one playing on both sides? It's just too confusing. Because then the other person, maybe you play with 2 controllers. Whoa. Okay, so that's enough of that one. Well, unless someone is like an aficionado of volleyball for the Atari home computer, please let me know. In the meantime, I'm going to call that one broken. It's not as far as to go like half or 0 because we're actually seeing stuff on the screen. I'll give it 1 star though. Volleyball on the Atari home computer, not really hitting the mark there. So 1 star for Volleyball. All right, with that, let's see what our next game is. All right, for all the Zork fans out there, your day has come. This is the release of Zork II, The Wizard of Frobozz. If you know who the Wizard of Frobozz is, then you played a lot of Zork 1. Let's take a look at the box for Zork 2. The next step downward to danger. Interactive fiction, fantasy. And you can see there, this is for the TRS-80 Model 3. Gotta have 48K in 1981. And if you flip it over back of the box, let's see, we got the wizard appears floating nonchalantly in the air beside you. He grins sideways at you. The wizard incants fantasize, but nothing happens. He shakes the wand, nothing happens. With a slightly embarrassed glance in your direction, he vanishes. So you can see over at the top, they're showing the disc and what came inside the Zork 2. This is by Infocom, and they always had really cool things inside the box. Zork was originally one large game for mainframe computers, and then they broke it into 3 parts. So this is the release of Zork 2 for the TRS. This is the first release of Zork 2, I believe. and then we're gonna have Zork 3 because they made it into a trilogy because it is a massive game. This is the kind of game that if you were into text adventure games but you don't want to do something kiddie like a choose your own adventure, Zork is the game for you. It is giant. So let's take a look at the manual for Zork 2. There we go. It has reviews. Take their words for it. I'm probably not going to watch TV for the next year now that I have Zork 2. That was Jenny, who's 21. Way to go, Jenny. Not watching TV and just playing Zork. So there we go. GUE on 9 Zork mids a day. And if you're not familiar with Zork, that is the currency when you play Zork. Zork mids. A Traveler's Guide to the Great Underground Empire, which was the name of the first Zork. This is fun. They're making it like, yeah, there we go. The government, transportation, dining, things to see, seasonal events, the weather. Zork is a huge lore involved with Zork. Like you can get really deep and play a lot of Zork, and it's almost like an open world text adventure game. That's the best way to describe it, even though that term wasn't popular in 81. So look at this. They have like, is this? Yeah, so this is different areas or sections in Zork. So you can go around and you can explore Zork, and it's huge. It's its own world. And so they're breaking down like the different things you can do. You can go dine and eat, things to see, what the weather's like in this area of the game. And then they have the facts about that area of the game, like population, the nickname for it. They have the Frigid River Valley and the areas of the Frigid River Valley. And so it's meant to give you, it's only text. So it's meant to give you a really good, in your imagination, what these places are like. So there you go. Girth and Mythicus. What the weather's like in Girth and Mythicus. And the Gray Mountains. The snowmaking equipment at Gray Mountains always provides optimal snow burrowing conditions. That's nice. Zork is also very fantastical. It's meant to be not based on anything in our world or our dimension. It's its own dimension. It's high fantasy. So after all that, here's the instruction manual, and you can see there's a lot involved because there's a lot you can do. The text parser for Zork is more advanced than any other adventure game we've played. This is the adventure game you could spend months and months on. Hey, Jeff Quest, thanks for joining us. Yes, it's Zork 2. We're about to be eaten by a grue. If you understand that, then you played a lot of Zork. So here we go. Welcome to Zork. You're about to experience a classic interactive fantasy set in a magical universe. The Zork trilogy, see, it already knows it's a trilogy, takes place in the ruins of an ancient empire lying far underground. I would like to know if you could save what you did in Zork throughout each game. Like there are role-playing games we played at the time. You could save a character and then use that for the other iterations of the game when they come out. And I couldn't remember if Zork did that or not. You could save what you did and then move on. But I mean, look at the table of contents. It's got, it tells us what interactive fiction is. It has the overview of this. So like, if you didn't want to watch TV and you didn't want to read books and you just wanted to play one game for months and months in 1981, this is it. Zork 2. It has tips and tricks like how to type things in the text parser. Turn on the lamp, turn off the lamp, activate the lamp. Like these are all the things you can do with items. You can look and examine items. You can turn items over. If you find a book in Zork, you can open the book and read the book. You can actually turn the book on different sides. If you pick up objects, you can move it and look it around in different places. It is very extensive. See how to communicate. How do you talk to people? As examples of all that with Zork 2. Read the book, drop it, then burn it with a torch. Zork is the best text parser. Where is the Zork mid? Gnome, give me the key. Examples of, look at all the things you can type. Look how much it understands. Considering the other games we play usually only have a two-word text parser. All the way 1 through 3 and finished it. So did you get to the Wizard of Frobozz? Zork is also very lighthearted. It's meant to be not something like dark and deep fantasy, like Lord of the Rings. It's not something. It's meant to be more comical and fun. All right, so we have the quick reference guide, and oh my gosh, yeah, there's so much. We're only halfway through the manual, so we won't go through the whole thing. Just know that Zork is big, very big. All right, let's boot it up, and like usual, let's see if this plays. It's November 1981, and we're playing the release of Zork II on our Radio Shack TRS-80. All right, so right off the bat, we need to go in our directory and see. There we go. Okay, it's just Zork II. Nice. I think that's all we got. And then we should load. Load! Zork II, the Wizard of Frobozz, we got it. At least this screen, we got this screen. All rights reserved, Zork. Now we're inside the barrow. You're inside an ancient barrow hidden deep within a dark forest. The barrow opens into a narrow tunnel at its southern end. You can see a faint glow at the far end. A sword of elvish workmanship is on the ground. A strangely familiar brass lantern is lying on the ground. Nice. Get sword. Taken. Look sword. Oh, it doesn't say. Examine. Sword. I see nothing special about the sword. Okay. Get lantern. Taken. Examine. If I can spell examine. Lantern. The lamp is turned off. Okay, good. Let's go north. Oh, you can't go there. Go south. So now we're in the narrow tunnel. We're standing at the southern end of a narrow tunnel where it opens to a wide cavern. The cavern is dimly illuminated by phosphorescent mosses clinging to its high ceiling. A deep ravine winds through the cavern with a small stream at the bottom. The walls of the ravine are steep and crumbly. A footbridge crosses the ravine to the south. This description and the way that it's describing itself is one of the reasons we have other text adventure games. We haven't played mainframe computer games, and this obviously started back with Colossal Cave and then Adventure on mainframe, and then from there it turned into Zork was like one of the big ones that was well written. And so they're taking this concept and they're giving us a very well written video game. So it's not just the lore of the game, but it's just it plays like you're reading an expansive novel. It is the adventure game that other adventure game people wanted to play or be like. Yeah, right? That's a good point. It's like we have the old man from Legend of Zelda. It's dangerous to go alone. Take this. All right, so we can go to the south now. We're at the footbridge, standing on a crude but sturdy wood bridge crossing a deep ravine. And it's meant to really inspire your imagination. So you write everything down and make a map of things. But Infocom that published this, they were really good at giving you stuff to help you get into the mode of Zork. They had things in the box they would call feelies. And it starts with these Zork games where they would put physical things you could hold, actual cloth maps that you could put in your hand. And they had things that would help you want to get in more of the world of the game. All right, so we got a path that runs north and south. Let's go south again. The Great Cavern. This is the center of the Great Cavern, carved out of the limestone. Stalactites and stalagmites of the many sizes are everywhere. The room glows with dim light provided by phosphorescent moss. The weird shadows move all around you. A narrow path winds southwest along stalagmites, and another path leads northeast. So you can see we're already getting a large world. This is going to be larger than anything else we've played up to this point. And while you may be turned off with just the text, it doesn't have any graphics or pictures or high-res pictures like they say for online systems. It is meant to be an interactive fiction. Very, very deep interactive fiction. Can we get that moss? Some of the moss rubs off on you, but it stops glowing very quickly once it's plucked from its environment. Nice. Look. Shadow. I don't know. You don't know the word shadow? Come on, Zork. There's shadows that move all around. What about look? Stalactite? Did I spell it right? Oh, it just has the same thing. Okay, so we can go northeast, or I'll go southwest. Now that we're at a shallow ford, the southern edge of a great cavern. To the south across a shallow ford is a dark tunnel which looks like it was once enlarged and smooth. See how descriptive this is? Man, Zork is awesome at that. So, as usual with text adventure games, we can go on and on, but we usually do a taste of the text adventure games because it's pretty much, you want to do it yourself. It's supposed to be one person and you're reading it in your head. You don't really want to have someone narrate this unless it's like Ian McKellen or someone with an awesome voice to narrate the whole thing for you. All right, so that was Zork II. Now, if you were part of this genre and loved this genre, this would be a 5, because this is the best text or interactive fiction game of all the other interactive fiction games we played before, if we don't consider like graphic adventure games. So because it's still a niche genre, though, we did give Zork 5 stars for last year in 1980. I don't know if I want to go all the way for 5 here, but it is a very large game and a very, very fun game. I'm debating if I want to go for, well, yep, if someone really wanted to play this would be the best game you could play for the time. So for all the Zork 2 fans, we're going 5 stars. The best interactive fiction game in 1981. And with that, we are going to put our game playing on pause and continue next time, finding more grues to fight, or swords to find, or things to blow up, or space games to shoot. Have we played Atari today? Yes, we have. We will catch you next time. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without RetroArch and Launchbox. Please tell your friends there's some crazy guy out there trying to play every single video game. You can always check out Chronologically Gaming on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We will catch you next time.